first Milan derby of the season comes to an end. And boy, oh boy, it was a good game. But victory is in the hands of Fonseca's Milan. How did they do it? How did he do it? Bearing in mind, this is a manager that going into this game was under pressure. The word around Milan was, it's a must-win game. Fail to win, you might be out of the job come tomorrow morning. How did Fonseca rejuvenate? How did Fonseca transform, tweak this Milan team and get them to drop easily, hands down, their best performance of the season against the best team in Italy, Inzaghi's Inter Milan? In this video, we will break down structure, we will break down where it went wrong for Milan and what the future holds for Fonseca. But most importantly, if you're new, make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit the like, make sure to let me know what you think in the comments. Let's get into it. Now, Fonseca's Milan have come under heavy criticism for the football they play, for their tactical setups like the 4-2-3-1. It's open. There's gaps in between the lines. The press isn't the most cohesive. It isn't the most structured. And against better teams, it can be punished. And it has been punished this season. But not today. Not in the Milan derby. Now, the first thing from the jump that I realized with Fonseca's Milan was their off-the-ball shape. And most importantly, their pressing structure. What is it? A 4-2-4. Now, you can clearly see Milan's press, Milan's attack was spearheaded by 4 players in attack. Christian Pulisic, Captain America, Rafa Leao, Tammy Abraham, and Alvaro Morata. Now, what are the benefits of pressing in a 4-2-4 shape? Number one, it's very high risk, high reward. You are committing, you are pushing a lot of bodies forward in hope of those numbers winning the ball for you. You want to press in numbers. You want to close down all the possible passing angles. And that was what Milan done today. But secondly, especially when coming up against a team that likes to set up in a back 3 in Inzaghi's Inter, it meant there was no outball. There was no outlet because the 3 centre-halves on the ball were occupied, whilst Milan always had that one extra player that can drop deeper into midfield to create overloads, maybe to even gang up, double up on an Inter player, and it paid dividends. Because Milan at times today won the ball high up the field. They applied pressure to these Inter Milan defenders. They got the ball. They created chances. And on another day, this game doesn't end 2-1. But where the tactical change benefited Milan was the fact that their setup was on point. The 4-2-4 benefited their players in attack. It helped them press together and it helped them win the ball high up the field, which is the most important thing. Now, touching on the 4-2-4, Fonseca's come under criticism this season for deploying a high line but not having the most structured of presses. Today, it was different. It wasn't a high line. It wasn't a low block. It was a mid block from what you can see. But look at it. Look at how tight it is. Look at how compact it is. There's no space in between the lines. There's no zones unoccupied. The players are in close proximity of one another. The players can double up. They've got overloads in the centre. But most importantly, they're suffocating Inter Milan off the ball by not really giving them any space to attack, any space to play their football. And this Milan team benefited a lot from this 4-2-4 structure. Now, how did Fonseca set up Milan on the ball? Did it work? Did it pay dividends? Yes. Why? It played to his players' strengths. It played to everybody's strengths. 2 players really impressed me in this 3-4-3 setup on the ball. Number 1, the first player, he's looking like signing of the season. For £20 million, for what Fofana brings on and off the ball, it's impressive. He's a bargain because he had a monster performance. But the first thing was Fofana dropping in the middle of Tomori and Gabbi, creating a back 3. Theo Hernandez, Emerson Royale, they bomb forward to create a 4-man midfield with Reinders and Pulisic. And then in attack, you've got Morata, Rafa Leao, and Tammy Abraham. But how did Fofana benefit Milan? Him dropping into the centre meant Milan had an extra body in defence an extra body in build-up. An extra body in build-up means an extra passing angle. It helped Milan beat Inter's press, evade Inter's press, but he brought an extra layer of protection, that defensive security, and on the ball, he helped them a lot playing out of the back. The second thing which impressed me was Alvaro Morata. Before the game, everybody looked at the starting 11 and thought, how is this going to work? Tammy Abraham, Alvaro Morata, a split striker system where one is the striker that runs in behind. The other is the striker that drops deep. Why does he drop deep? He drops deep to create those central overloads to give Milan that numerical advantage. Because like I said, it's a 3-4-3. But when Morata drops deep, he turns that two-man central midfield of Reinders and Pulisic into three. A three-man midfield gives them an extra passing angle. It gives them an extra layer. Where it helped Milan the most was sometimes to beat Inter's press, they would go long into Morata. Morata's got the aerial ability, he's got the hold up, and he's got the link up. And most importantly, he's got players in and around him. He's got width occupied by Emerson Royale and Hernandez. He's got Reinders and Pulisic in close proximity of him. He's got Rafa Leao and Tammy Abraham making runs ahead of him. He was the connector. He was the orchestrator. The 3-4-3, or we could also call it a 3-4-1-2, it paid dividends because it benefited everybody, because everybody was given a role that played to their strengths. Now, it's only right we sing the praise of Milan's midfield. Why? Because it's Milan's best midfield. Reinders and Fofana, it's Milan's most balanced midfield. Why? Because they're two players that complement one another. They're two players that bring different things to the table at different ends of the pitch. But you need those things in every single team. They're essential, they're important, they're of high value. Fofana is the more tenacious, aggressive, gets stuck in, provides that extra layer of protection, that extra layer of security. The player that wins the ball back for his team, the player that breaks play, stops the opposition from creating any opportunities, and he does his job to such an efficient manner. And on the ball, I don't feel like he gets the praise he deserves. He's so good under pressure. He's so progressive. Reinders is the opposite. The silky, the elegant. The player that's there to carry the ball, to progress the ball, to provide that playmaking in the final third, to help Milan playing out of the back, because this dude under pressure, this dude's dribbling, his awareness, his scanning of teammates, for me, is top notch. And he is one of the best midfielders in the Serie A. But that midfield pivot, it complements one another because, like I said, they bring different things that Milan need. And in my opinion, there's a reason why Milan won the midfield battle today. Now, the $1 million question is, why did Milan win this derby? A derby that they haven't won in years. The best way for me to answer that is they wanted it more. And it was evident from watching the game, from their defensive, their offensive actions. They wanted it more, from their body language. Like, if we were just to look at the goals very briefly, Gabbi, powerhouse of a display. He's also a contender for man of the match, but he clears the ball. But Inter are on the ball in their own half, but you can clearly see the intentions, the intent of Christian Pulisic, where he's like, sweet, Inter have got the ball, I want it back. I want to win this ball of Inter. He goes and presses Inter, and he wins that ball by applying pressure, by being on the Inter player's first touch. He wins the ball, but when he does win the ball, he knows I'm in a dangerous area. No dilly-dallying, no overthinking, no being short on confidence and going for that safe pass. No, I'm going to take the game to Inter, and he carries, and he carries. And for a player that has his ball manipulation, his body manipulation, his dribbling, his ball control, it only made sense for him to get himself into a dangerous area. And like he's shown this season, he's clinical in front of goal. But if you were to rewind, he wanted it more. You look at the second goal, Gabbi. Gabbi starts outside Inter's box. But once again, he wants it more. He wanted to get onto it more than anybody else. He charges into the box and he makes sure he's in the right place at the right time. He jumps before everybody. He connects with the ball before everybody. And when you look at all those things and you combine them, it only makes sense for Milan to win the first Milan derby of the season. If you're new, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the like, make sure to comment. It always helps the channel grow. I always appreciate anybody tuning into my content. And I will catch you guys on another one.